Great one, Johnston. But hey, I'll catch you later. I gotta do a show. Hi there. Welcome to BTT, Business Technology Today. And we're going to be talking about Michael Porter and the competitive strategy. Who's Michael Porter? Well, he's one of the greatest business minds of our generation. He was born May 23rd, 1947, and he's a professional in the principal field of competition and competitive strategy. He's an author of 18 books and numerous articles, including Competitive Strategy, Competitive Advantage, and even The Competitive Advantage of Nations. He's served as a strategy advisor to numerous leading U.S. and international companies like Caterpillar, Procter & Gamble, Scott's Miracle-Gro, Royal Dutch Shell, and even Taiwan Semiconductor. Well, let's go ahead and learn about Michael Porter's competitive strategy.
Business, technology today, where winners watch every day. Learn about business and technology. Come and learn with me.
Oh, hi there. I guess we're back. Well, let's get started on Porter's 5 competitive forces. Why do we need to learn it? Let's just go over the objectives. Michael's competitive forces are here to help us do 4 things. 1. Identify what factors shape and character the competition. Assess and manage the long-term attractiveness of an industry. You know, for you investing fans out there. To assess the structural attractiveness of the analyzed industry, whatever that means. And to explain the relationship between the 5 dynamic forces that affect an industry performance. All in all, he's here to make us better people. Johnson, you're a killer. Hey, I gotta get back to you. I gotta finish this show. Hi, we're back. Now that we know the objectives, we gotta find out what are these 5 forces that determine the competitiveness of an industry. Follow me. For 1, we have the entry of competitors. How many people are coming in trying to take your business? 2nd, the threat of substitutes. How many people are trying to substitute your product? The bargaining power of the buyer. Very important. How much power they got over your selling rights? And the bargaining power of the supplier. How much power does the supplier have to your bottom line? And lastly, all the other people in the same boat as you. All your competitors. And these 5 forces are all counteracting to determine one thing and one thing only. Your competitiveness. Oh, hi there. Sorry, it's Johnson's favorite song. So it's the first force we're going to talk about today is the entry of competitors. What does that mean? Well, that's only seeing how easy or difficult it is for new entrants to start competing. Which barriers exist? What is keeping people from taking my business? One thing to look at is economies of scale. Does your business have big enough economies of scale for a startup business to have trouble keeping up? What about big capital investments? Or even switching costs from one provider to the other? All these things affect how high or low entry the barrier is to the industry and can make your company more or less competitive. What are some questions to ask yourself? Well, for one, how different is your product? You want to make sure your product is different from the rest. Well, how strong is the brand identity with your product, keeping the barriers of entry very high? Or even, how much capital investment is necessary for someone to come in? Is it even feasible for someone to come into your industry and compete with you? Also, a big one is, what distribution channels are available for someone starting up and getting into this new industry? Do you control them all? Because if you do, you're safe. No, sorry, Johnston. I don't have an 11 of clubs. Go. Hello? Hey, Johnston. Yeah, I don't have an 11 of clubs. Go fish! Oh, sorry there. Just playing a little game of go fish. Let's talk about threat of substitutes. The threat of a substitute is when there's an existence of products outside the realm of the common product. These boundaries increase the propensity, which is a big word for probability, of customers to switch to alternatives. If customers switch to alternatives, you lose those customers. So, what are some things we need to watch out for? Well, what is the quality of this substitute out there? Does it really replace what you're offering? What is the willingness to substitute? Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't, but I want to stick to what I'm with right now. What is the relative price and performance of this substitute? Can it really do what your product can do and do it at a lower price? If not, what's the point? Also, what is the cost of switching? Do I really want to pay that fixed cost to switch from a product I'm currently using to a substitute? I don't know. What are some questions to ask ourselves? Well, again, what is this relative price and performance of the substitute? Are there switching costs associated with it? If there's switching costs, that's good for you. And what is the buyer's propensity to substitute? Do they want to substitute, or they want to stay right where they're at? Because if they want to stay right where they're at, you'll be making money for a long time. Oh, hey, I gotta go. Hi there. Let's continue our discussion on competitive strategy. Let's talk about power of suppliers. Well, what is this power of suppliers? Well, this is the bargaining power that the suppliers have over your industry. This includes the suppliers of raw materials, components, labor and services, and the problem is that this supplying can be a source of power over the firm. The moment you have someone having power over you is the moment you're losing. Quick note on power though. If suppliers have power over you, they may refuse to work with the firm, they might charge excessively high prices, or put crazy demands on working with you. Don't let them have power over you. So, how do we avoid this? 1. The concentration of suppliers. Be sure there's redundancy. The branding of suppliers. How loyal are these suppliers, or how big of a branding do these suppliers have that you must work with them? What about the profitability of suppliers? Are they making a lot of money? Because if they are, they don't care about you. And are the suppliers threatening to integrate forward? It smells like they're creeping up on our turf. Or do buyers not threaten to integrate backwards? Are the buyers actually coming back and working with the suppliers themselves and cutting you out of the picture? This is no bueno. What are some questions we have to ask ourselves? 1. What are switching costs for suppliers? Can you easily switch from supplier to supplier? Keep them on their toes. Are there any presence of substitute inputs? Does that make them nervous? Because if they're nervous, there's no good business for you. How high is the concentration of suppliers? Do you have a good pool to pick from? And lastly, is there forward or backward integration going on anywhere in the picture? Because if there is, you better get nervous. Hey Johnson, I'm online. Oh, hey, never mind. Hi guys, let's talk about power of buyers. So what is the bargaining power of a customer? It's also described as the market of outputs. It's the ability of a customer to put the firm under pressure. You don't want your customers putting you under pressure. That's no bueno. Well, what are some things we have to keep in mind? 1, the concentration of buyers. How much power or how concentrated are they that they can have power over you? Also, what is your product differentiation? Are your buyers tasked or forced to buy from you because your product is so unique? That's where you want to be. Profitability of buyers. Are they making money? Do they need your product? What about the role of quality and service? Are you treating them nicely? Because you better be. Also, there's a threat of backwards and forward integration that can happen between supplier and buyers and cut you out of the picture. And you don't want that. And you better be doing everything you can to stop it. Lastly, what is the customer switching cost to go from product to product? You better make it hard for them to leave you, because they will. What are some questions we need to ask ourselves? Well, how strong is the difference between buyer concentration and firm concentration? Do the firms have the power, or does the buyer have the power? If you're a firm, you want to have the power. If you're a buyer, you want the firm to have the power. What is the buyer volume? How big is this market? Do you care if a buyer buys from you, or you can just get the other guy to spend some money on you? Well, is the buyer capable of backwards integration? Can they go shopping online and forget about you altogether? Hopefully not. What are the buyers' switching costs? Can they switch buyers? Can the buyers switch products no problem? You better not let them. You need them. How much info does the buyer have? Information is power in this day and age, and you better not give them an inch. Also, what does the buyer perceive as quality? You better make them feel like they're buying the best product out there, and then they'll stick to you like mud. Hey Johnston, check these bad boys out. Aren't they cool? Yeah. Oh, hey. Hey, sorry. Let's talk about the last topic, rivalry. For most industries, the intensity of competitive rivalry is the major determinant of competitiveness. That makes sense. Well, what are some topics we need to look at? Well, one is the structure of the competition. Is there a lot of small competition, or is there a few equally sized competitors that are always on your toes? Also, the structure of industry costs. Is there a high fixed cost? Because if there's a high fixed cost, this causes more production, which will also include more supply and will lower the price. Also, what is the degree of product differentiation? Are all the competitors using the same product, or are they selling slightly different products? Also, what is the switching cost? For example, from going to T-Mobile to AT&T or stuff like that. Also, what are the strategic objectives of all your competitors? Are they there to hunt you down or get you out of business, or are they there just to make a profit like you? Lastly, are exit barriers high? If exit barriers are high, then there's more loss and more reason to stick around. So competitors are usually more cutthroat and ready to take you out. So, how do I find out what environment I'm in? 1. I ask myself, how many direct or even indirect competitors are there? What are the sizes of my competitors? Are they bigger than me? Smaller than me? How diverse are my competitors? Also, what is the industry growth rate? Is the industry going down? Because in that case, it's only going to get more cutthroat. Also, how different is my product from the rest? Can I stand to see other competitors come up with something cooler and more innovative? Because I think you know the answer to that. And it's no.
Chewy, is that you?
Well, that does it for this episode of BTT. Thanks for watching. And stick around next week where we're going to talk to the big marshmallow monster from Ghostbusters. And he'll tell us his stories of being CIO of Hershey's. Hope to see you next week.